You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Joe Martenson. Is that your last name?
That is my last name.
This is like, we've never really actually had a full-on conversation, but you're a drummer in my brother's band, the Rouge Citizens. Well, it's all of your guys' band, but
yeah.
It's cool that we can finally sit down and shoot the shit. I basically, when I first saw you, was at the Green Turtle, a local bar down here, and I saw this guy wearing this Big Lebowski shirt, and I was like, that is my best friend right there.
Yes.
Because The Big Lebowski is probably my all-time favorite movie. It's basically inspired a cult, and a lot of people don't know too much about it. Like, you even mentioned, like, I bring it up to my parents. It came up around their time, too, and it was like, they don't, I've never seen it before. I'm like, it inspired millions of people to just go out the door and go bowling.
Yeah, and for no reason. It's just like if you ask someone what's that movie about? Like, give me the plot of that movie.
Bowling.
You know, exactly. Like,
what happens when you're just in a bowling alley?
Yeah.
And there's just so much famous people in it, but it goes in so many directions. And not to get all into the subject of The Big Lebowski, because we'll save that for the new series, Fill in the Blank, where we can just talk and shoot the shit. But
yes.
We're here to talk to you, basically. It's a conversation between me and you. And so, Joe, what do you do professionally? What gets you money?
Well, right now it is working for State Farm. I work for an agent out in Salisbury, and I sell insurance. I'm one of their, I guess I can say now, top producers. A couple pieces have moved around in the past couple months, and as the dust is settling, it's an awesome job. It's a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
Have you met the guy?
The guy?
Yeah. Allstate.
Oh,
or that's State Farm. Wait, which one's the... State Farm is the farmer's thing, right?
State Farm is like
a
good neighbor. State Farm is there.
Like a good neighbor. So if I say like a good neighbor, State Farm is there when my toilet's clogged, are you going to show up and fix it for me?
So toilet clogging isn't actually something that would be covered under your homeowner's policy.
Damn!
See me about that at Karen Davis, Salisbury.
They got to catch you in your off days.
Yeah.
When you're not working for the biz.
Yeah, right.
That's funny because there's so many insurance companies, and that's a weird thing. You know, there's a thing called there's life insurance. Obviously, you're covered if you get into an accident, which is beneficial. But it feels like the one time you don't have life insurance is the one time you actually need it. Now, when it comes to insurance, I don't know a whole lot about it, just because I just know they take a small portion of something out of my check, and I don't ever question where that money goes, really deep and fully.
Okay, so that's probably you're talking about health insurance, right? They deduct something out of your paycheck each month, but do you have health insurance from your job?
I hope.
Yeah, so that's what they're taking out.
I actually think I got my own care provider.
Okay.
Because I don't know. When it comes to the insurance thing, they give me a waiver to sign. Like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Why do you need my signature? Can we get your email address? Why do you need my email address if you're not going to send me shit?
It's a good question. Well, who are you insured with?
I don't want to give them a shout out on the podcast.
Okay. We can talk about that later. But yeah, you can probably ask them to not.
Are you selling your... are you trying to sign me up right now, bro?
No. I was trying to see... more or less like how you have like you could probably have your preferences changed is what I was going to get at. So like I was saying, if you were saying you were with State Farm, so just call your agent and tell them not to contact you this way.
If they let me summon a hot chick in my house at any time I want by just singing a jingle, then I will sign up. For sure.
All right. I will. I'll see what I can do.
Look into it.
I will.
Get what's his face, Elon Musk, on that situation. So what's your passion, bro? I know is it playing music?
It is.
Is that the eventual long goal, being a rock star?
Well, it was, back in my earlier 20s.
How old are you?
I am, how old do you think I am?
I don't know. Because you do have a bit of touch of gray on the side. No offense.
No, none taken. I actually get a lot of compliments on that, weirdly.
You have relatively young face. Kind of like me. Like, the only reason I keep a little bit of chin stubble is just so people don't mistake me for a child walking through the store. Like, where is your mother? Does she know you're out at this time? I'm like, yeah. But then I talk and they're like, oh my God. Like, you're obviously not 12 years old. But I'm going to say 33, 34.
Yeah, exact 34. Yeah.
Oh my
Spot
God!
on. I
joining the carnival.
Yeah, October. My birthday's in October, so.
Shout out to you.
Yeah.
You were born 2 months before me and 20-something years ahead of me.
Yeah.
So, your passion being music, is it playing the drums? Is that your only instrument that you've really ever advocated towards? Because, I mean, I've went towards playing multiple instruments and just really couldn't find my niche in music. And it's weird because my family goes the complete opposite way with it, where my family is all musically talented. I mean, I am a little bit too when it comes to someone telling me what to do. I can definitely play it, but I don't feel the compassion or just drive to get me going into music.
Right. And that's exactly what it is for me, man. I only tried playing the drums. Like, that was the first instrument I was drawn to, when the permission slip came out in 4th grade, and it was time to, do you want your kid to sign up for music? And I was like, my mom asked me, I was like, yeah, I want to play the drums. And she thought she was getting away easy, because all she had to get was a pad, a pair of sticks, and a book, where everyone else had to rent like these big expensive trumpets and trombones and saxophones, right?
Yeah, I just play drums.
Right? So my mom was like, oh, this is great. And then 2 years go by and I'm advancing and I need a drum set now, and that's when she, saw all the bills coming. Man, it was
start buying drum kits
expensive
and all
equipment.
the equipment into
They don't make that stuff cheap, I'll tell you.
Well, it was cool because when I was in school, like everybody was buying like trumpets and doing all that stuff, and my dad was just like, I play drums, you play drums. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can teach you at home. It makes sense. Like, you learn stuff, go into class, blow everybody's mind.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got a pair of drumsticks, just gave me them. I remember so many times he's borrowed my drumsticks. I remember the first thing I got, like, music-wise for a video game was Rock Band. And I got the drum set, of course. And then, like, he took the Rock Band drumsticks, and he used those at a live gig. Like, I once saw him play Ram's Head live in Baltimore. In his little Kiss tribute band, and the sticks he was using on stage were my drumsticks, because he broke it and then threw it into the crowd at the ending, so I ran over and grabbed it and started grabbing all the confetti off the floor, kind of wrapping it around the drumstick, and I look and the handle says Rock Band. I'm like, how am I going to play drums when I get home? Like, but it was cool. Like, is your, I guess, passion or more drive towards the actual art of making the music? Because when it comes to that industry, there's so many different things that everyone's interested in, whether it's the girls, whether it's the money, whether it's just being famous. Is yours just the actual sound for the music? You can be honest here.
Yeah, and I fully intend to be. It's at first, when I was younger, I of course wanted to like be in a successful rock band and just, tour the country playing music, getting paid to do what I love to do. We're now playing in the band that I'm in, the Rouge Citizens. It's so much fun. And I think we mesh really well together and we write incredible music. But I find myself with a void. I'm missing this certain piece of what I've always wanted to do, and I just have never really gotten the pieces together to do it. I really like the neo soul kind of jazz, like an artist like Erykah Badu. Okay, like a lot of her music is really in the pocket. These really funky grooves, and I think you get together a good drummer who can keep time really well. A really good bassist and a good key player, you're set. You could play anywhere. It's that's the kind of band I'm trying to put together.
Do you like that? So do you wish to kind of stem off and do your own thing eventually down the road? I
mean, I don't know. It's just something I want to do. Before I, while I'm still young, because I really, I don't know. I feel like
You're never too young, man. You got to think. Blues artist. How old?
Okay.
What's the stereotypical blues artist? Explain to me that. Old black guy sitting on a porch playing an old crappy guitar, and he's sitting there just strumming out, his not even passion, but his hardship and everything like that. And it's amazing. Like, what I noticed was when it comes to judging a song, I don't tend to judge a whole lot. I'm not too into the whole techno scene. But I understand someone made that, someone took the time to create that, so I'm not going to knock it. Now, when it comes to how they're developed, country song, they're usually talking about what they're doing or something like that, or what they have, or, growing up on a farm. There's certain cliques or niches that, you relate to that certain topic, like reggae. What's the first thing when I say reggae? You think of pot, you think of the whole surfer California type vibe, because that's what mostly all the songs are about. But when you play something like blues or soul or funk, it's something, funk gets mixed up with psychedelics and all that type of stuff. But like when you hear a soul song or a blues song, there's a pain to it, but there's also a wisdom in the words, because it's like you're hearing a story, but also an experience.
For sure. Yeah.
It brings me down to the line of thinking of comedians that use like storytelling and stuff like that. Like you're getting the experience. It's something that it might be relatable. If you are able to relate yourself to a song, I feel like an audience, no matter what quality it is or what genre it is, it really opens their eyes up in a way and kind of makes them able to connect to the audience. Like that's the one thing you want to do as a band, first of all.
Absolutely. Because
as a band, you guys, I always sum it up to, you guys are all cooks in the kitchen, and you're all creating this basically entree for everyone to take in. And if you want to play the stuff that people know, and that's why you play cover songs, and you throw an original in there, and they might like the original, and then it's like bam, you're getting a chain reaction type events. And it's amazing, because if all of you guys are working on a different recipe, you're not going to get the same good product in the end. But if all of you guys are throwing in your own little spice and everything like that, it's just it's beautiful to see, and the audience recognizes it, and that's when you see them all vibing and dancing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really cool to play with this band because of that very reason, man. It's people seem to dig our music, and I've never been in a band that's had so many people just random people just come up and stop and listen, or if we're playing at a bar, they come up to you after the show and they're like, man, I was on the way out, but like you guys started playing, and like we opened our tab again. Like we've had people say that to us too, and like it's really
glorified.
It's really cool to meet people like that.
A lot of people say that's selfish because you're basically hogging for the attention. I was like, that's why girls put up pictures of their asses on Instagram. First of all, they want the attention. Like obviously someone's going to compliment them. I said always, what's worse than taking a booty pic or something and putting it up on Instagram is taking a picture of you being in or by a hospital. Because everyone's immediately on you, like people you've never even heard of contact you. Are you alive? And you're just like, yeah.
Social media.
It's a powerful thing, man. It over controls so much lives, but in so many ways it's very, very beneficial, especially for a band.
Oh, yeah.
Shouting it out there. A lot of people ask why I don't really do a whole lot with my podcast when it comes with advertising or like spreading it around. I'm like, because I like it coming from the people that were on the podcast as well. Like I'll share it on a Facebook thing. It's the only thing I use Facebook for, that and birthdays. Right. But like checking my news feed, making sure nobody died recently that I knew, and it was like it's not that I want it to spread with like paying money. I don't want it to go like that. I want it to have an essence. I want people to be able to share their experience on the podcast and be like, you should do this podcast. It was awesome. It was a cool, vibing conversation. I just noticed everyone's got a story, man. Everyone's got an interesting experience in their life, and it creates who we are today. Whether you're an asshole or you're a good person, you got to take it in strides, man. Everybody's their own flavor. You just got to find the taste. Look at that. That was a beautiful saying.
Very.
I'm also pretty hungry, so.
Yeah.
That's why I'm connecting a lot of things with food.
That'll happen.
What's your favorite road food, I would say? When you travel on the road, like the one place you want to stop, or do you have like a certain thing you like to snack on?
Yeah, so like if there's ever like a bagel place, I'm from Jersey, right?
What?
Yeah, I'm from Jersey. So
bagels?
So check this out. Not just like a bagel with cream cheese. I'm talking like a
cream
bagel
cheese is nasty.
sandwich.
Cream cheese.
So like a ham, egg, and cheese on an everything bagel.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's food.
That's my jam right there.
I'll say if you're just eating a bagel, how do you even have sustenance to play drums at night?
No, so I'm from Jersey, and there are a dime a dozen in New Jersey. They're everywhere.
My favorite comedian comes from New Jersey.
Who's that?
Joey Diaz.
Okay.
You know who Joey Diaz is?
I've heard the name, but don't quote me on anything. Yeah.
Just look him up. You'd be
Okay.
like, I know this guy. He's been in so many movies. You'd be like, okay. He's in The Longest Yard. He's the one with Adam
Who was
Sandler.
he in The Longest Yard?
He was the dude that was laying on the ground and goes, "You better not cut me." And then he gets hit so hard, he's like, "Can of corn, I'll be all right."
Oh wow,
The
okay.
super fat guy.
I'd have to, I'd have to look him up.
He hangs out with one of my big influences for my podcast, where I even started the idea in the first place. Is Joe Rogan.
Oh, I love Joe Rogan.
Joey Diaz is usually on there and like shouting and smoking weeds. He does a thing he does his own podcast. Joey Diaz is called it's Church of What's Happening Now, and he's got this dude on there that he doses with like heavy amounts of like marijuana, like tablets and stuff. Like he gave him a candy that was, it said it's 400 milligrams, but he put it in a 60 milligram wrapper and then told him to try it. And there's a video on YouTube. You want to die laughing?
Yeah.
This guy's sitting there and he's like listening to music, and you can see him just slowly losing it, and he just takes the headphones off and goes, you can just hear him mouth the words, "Fuck." Like he's out of it, and he puts the headphones down, and he's sitting there like you know how you get when you get too high. That was the funniest thing. Now, do you like? Not trying to call you out here, but you obviously use marijuana, right?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. When it comes to psychedelic trips and stuff like that, you ever dive into that realm?
No, actually, okay. So shrooms is as crazy as I've gotten.
I've never gone into that because I know my brain's going to take a turn for the worse.
See, okay, so that's okay. It could happen. I'm not going to say it
Dude,
could.
pot messes me up.
Well, then yeah, probably.
I got to focus on not dying.
If you're with a good group of people, and you're like in a place that you're comfortable,
Burning Man.
it would probably be, and also if you have access to like going outside, being outside, something about being in nature and tripping on shrooms is.
It's a whole nother world.
Wow, yeah, it's an experience. It's such a spiritual experience. It's crazy.
See, the funny thing is about shrooms, I relate my brain to Tenacious D, where he eats those mushrooms and he starts climbing the tree and he's dreaming like he's with Sasquatch and he's singing that song.
Yeah.
That stuff is hilarious, man. Like, that's what I wish I could be able to get to, but I feel like if I ever tried it, I would go way too, like... There's no cure for going over something like that. Like, once you take it, you're taking it for a ride, man.
Yeah.
It seems like every time I've smoked, there's always been... there's a thing called... it's a green out effect, where if you smoke too much weed, you get too high, and it causes, like, super anxiety, panic attacks. And I've experienced that before.
Oh, my God. So have I.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
I have... Let's talk about that.
So you can actually overdose. It's called a green out effect. It's not like you're going to die or anything, but your body will force itself to shut down, like go to sleep, which is usually what I do. If I get too high, I'll like go to sleep. Yeah. Your body will like try and release the toxins by either throwing up or getting sick to your stomach or finding food or doing all these certain things that can, and there's certain ways to kill your high in a way. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have actually experienced the green effect. I have multiple times, basically every time I smoked, because I'm smoking with my brother or something back in the high school days, and it was like, if I wasn't sitting down watching Friday and eating a giant salad bowl of cereal, my brain would immediately freak out and be like, you need to go to bed now. And it's like, it's your body's way of trying to reset itself. Much like if you go up or stay up all night or do something of that sort, your body starts slowly trying to shut itself down. You actually can experience a thing called micro sleep. I don't know if you ever heard of micro sleep.
I have not.
Basically, if you've been up for a couple days and you're driving and you feel yourself nodding out, there's moments, it's actually one of the most common car accidents under DUI. It's actually more dangerous. Your body shuts down for a couple minutes and you don't even realize it happened. You just wake up like, what? And next thing you know, you're like, crashed.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
See, because your body... It's everything. It's it's how you live, obviously, but it's like it has so many systems in place, like blacking out when you're drunk. It's your brain telling you, all right, I'm going to turn the lights off, and then see where you go after that. And the next thing you know, you're passed out on the floor or something. It's your body like saying you've had enough. Stop. Because there's also, you can consume too much water. You can do too much of anything.
Yeah,
too much of anything is bad.
Yeah.
But when you take things in strides, and you take things at a time, things are very beneficial that we talk about as being bad. Alcohol can be a good thing. It can be a social lubricant in a way, as long as you don't abuse it. You don't ever want to abuse a whole lot of things. Just like with the music industry, I'm going to take this long-ass jump to that. Mm-hmm. When you're dealing with over-abusing something, if you reproduce the same crap and don't put any heart or stuff in your material, the fans are going to know. people are going to know. If you start slacking, missing gigs, getting stuck into drugs, which happens a lot. And, not talking about marijuana, I'm talking about harder stuff, like, that messes up your brain processing and messes up things of that sort. You're losing your potential talent in a way, whether you feel it or not. Like, you're losing the essence, the reason why, what drove you in the first place to even create this beautiful music. And then when you start playing, the fans are going to realize that. They're going to know if you're heroined out on stage. Like, it might create a better vibe, or it might create a worse thing, like he's not even playing notes anymore. And it's crazy to think about that. Like, especially, if I gave you a scenario, let's just say this, it's going to be a little bit random, but this is how our brains link into it. Hopefully you've got the vibe of this podcast. But if I had to take one thing away from you, one sense, what would it be? Because if you think, you can't play without your sense of hearing, unless you were like Beethoven where you could feel the vibrations, but then you'd be missing out on a giant chunk of music.
I guess the least important, it's just in my mind, would probably be taste.
But then you're going to miss all your road food gigs.
Yeah, but I'd still be able to play as well as I can now. I would just miss the taste of things.
And now what about if you had to miss a certain body part?
How about my pinky toes? Because, you don't really need them. You can
don't know that.
You can balance without your pinky toe.
It's a cool fact is Tommy, is his name Tommy Iona?
Tommy Iona.
What is that hard rock band? Black Sabbath?
Well, I know Black Sabbath, but I don't know any of the...
He was a guitar player. I'm pretty sure it's Black Sabbath, but he lost his ring finger and his pinky finger, like the tips, or like the top part of it, and that's why he played down on his guitar. Like, he played the lower part of his guitar because it created a sound that eventually led to how popular his music had. That certain sound. It might be Metallica. I hope it's not Metallica. I'm not too educated on the hardcore rock.
I used to love Metallica, like back when I was in like middle school. So that name does not sound familiar. So
he's one of the 4 founding members of Black Sabbath. Was in a tragic accident at the age of 17 that resulted in the loss of his tips of his middle and ring finger, causing him to adjust his approach on how he played guitar using down-tuned strings for ease playing, creating that Black Sabbath sound. I wrote that for a fill-in-the-blank episode, so I guess I can't use that now. But it's cool to think that, like, if you have a passion to do something, you're going to do everything you possibly can to get it done. A lot of people say, well, I just never had time, Did you never have time, or did things come up and you just totally forgot to go back to it?
I mean...
Because I'm pretty sure we've all experienced, like, our grandparents who might had to go to war or go to something and leave off early and totally forget about their whole, just put their lives on hold to take care of their family and kind of grow up at a certain rate. And then it's like, when it comes down to, did you follow what you wanted in the end? They're not truly successfully happy. You know what I mean? It's hard to find what your passion is, but I believe if you're doing something that you feel is on the right step towards it, you're definitely doing the right thing.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, I'm very passionate about music, and I'm still trying to, pursue, I wouldn't say a career in music, but, trying to see as far as I could take this. I'm going to try to see it out as far as it'll go.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
Are you biracial?
I am not, actually.
You're all white?
I'm not all white.
I know that sounded really, really racist, but it wasn't meant to be. You look a little bit like a Latino in a way.
Yeah,
you have some Hispanic heritage.
I'm 100% Latino. I was actually born in Colombia, in Medellin. So I was adopted when I was 14 months old. And
so I hit right on the money.
Yeah.
Yo, I should be a genetic scientist or something. Holy crap. What's it like being adopted, man? Because I've had a couple people... you're the third person on this podcast series that's came out as adopted that I never knew was adopted.
I did not know
3
that.
people. I've had another person that told... Actually, 4 people. So, I don't understand if this is like... How'd you just change the name into... Robbie finds out people are adopted.
And that's actually the first time I've heard it put as coming out adopted. So I like that. I'm going to start using that. When I came out adopted. No, I'm just kidding.
Now you made it sound like I was making a joke when I was gay. It's funny, dude. I get it. I mean,
so
that whole aspect, though. I mean, you kind of the whole development process with being adopted. Did you kind of feel like if I wrote down on a piece of paper to find out who your real parents were, would you want to know?
Oh, oh,
so you already know?
No, it's a crazy. And there's another crazy passion of mine that I just.
You want to find out?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to find out. I would love to just be able to, even if it was just once, just look my biological mom in the eyes and just be like, "Thank you." You know what I mean? I looked at this as a
learning experience.
Totally positive thing. Yeah, like it was bad. That was the reign of Pablo Escobar.
Oh, so you see her as pushing you out into a better world, giving you to a better thing.
Because it was really bad down there in the mid 1980s. You know, a lot of violence, a lot of chaos, and so on my adoption papers it says I had 8 siblings. Okay, so I was the 9th, or it was either I had 7 and I was the 8th or the 9th, something like that. And
cheaper by the dozen.
Right. She wasn't able to afford to keep me. There was no next of kin that could take me, so she gave me to an orphanage.
Yep.
And I was adopted. Yeah.
So you don't really remember the orphanage, obviously.
Oh no, not at all. No, I don't remember anything about it.
You got the luck of the draw there, being adopted that young, man. Some people stay in there for a little while.
Yeah, they do.
That's
man.
what sucks.
When
I think of adoption, I think of the movie Meet the Robinsons, where like the kid, scientist, super smart kid, and he's stuck in this adoption home because he's trying to impress all the parents that come to adopt him. And they just want a kid that's going to play baseball and a certain thing. Mm-hmm. It's like you're trying to pick out like. It's like the movie Blades of Glory, where the dude was picking out super athlete that were they needed to be adopted and everything. He was starting like his own team. He had all these kids that were winning Olympic medals and stuff. It's like you're giving a kid a home, much like when you're going to an adoption center and you're picking out a dog. You obviously have what you want, but just because you don't get it in the end doesn't mean that's not going to benefit that animal's life.
Right, I got you. It was never a bad thing to me. My parents told me when I was really young, and I didn't really understand it at first. And then as I got older, you hear your kids at school talk about it. People make jokes like, "Oh, you were adopted," as it if it was like a bad thing. But no, I never. They gave me. It was a great childhood. I came from a home that was. My parents are still happily married to this day. You know what I mean? It was they were great role models. They gave us everything that we could have needed, and it was I'm very happy with how.
You obviously aspired to be a pretty nice and individual, well dressed.
Thank you. I just came from work.
Compared to me, I was wearing my joggers. But it's cool because like you got a good vibe. You're a very nice person, and a lot of people try to take that whole thing, being made fun of and stuff like that, and they tend to take it in a negative way. But it seems like the people that are either go through the hardest lives or go through some type of knowing that they're different in a way turn out to be one of the greatest people. And I have to compliment you on your car.
Thanks.
Tell everybody what that is.
It's a 2017 Ford Mustang GT.
That's that insurance money.
Yeah, okay.
That's that making it rain.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
You're selling penny stocks like Jordan Belfort, and people are buying shit.
It's it's a really nice car. It's so much fun to drive.
Do you have a thing where you can change the exhaust to see how loud it is? Like there's like a silent mode or a quiet mode?
No, but I've been wanting to get an upgraded exhaust for that vehicle. So it's just expensive.
Yeah, I knew you were pulling up. You were calling me. I had my phone upstairs. I was like, I'm just going to stand out on the porch until he sees me.
It only took me one pass by. Well, I guess no, technically, because I only passed by once, but then I saw you on the porch.
So, have you ever created an original song? Like your own, like you have a little journal somewhere where you write down some things. Like, does it ever just hit you sometimes?
Nah, I was never
good at the song making process.
No. So I was good at making songs, just not lyrics. I couldn't just sit there and like write a song. Like sit down, write it out, and then put some music to it. for me, it was always about, the melody and the rhythm, but not the lyrics. When I hear a song, and I guess this started when I was a kid, I don't listen to the lyrics. The voice is actually just another instrument, as like another guitar or
it's like a background noise.
Yeah, it's just another instrument to me. But I don't. I mostly listen to the drums, to be honest.
So even when you're watching a performance,
if there's a drummer, I mean that's mostly what I'll focus on. Yeah, for
kind
sure.
of stand by there because you got the whole connection with drumming.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know why. I guess that's just how I'm hardwired. Just drawn to drums and rhythm and.
Do you like it when the drums are so loud you can feel it in your ribs?
Like when you hit the bass drum or something.
Yeah, and it vibrates inside the ribs.
As long as I have my earplugs in, yeah.
Why do you wear earplugs?
I've been playing loud music for a long time. I used to be in metal bands a lot in Jersey.
Well, tell me about that. Holy crap.
Yeah. So, okay. First metal band I was in, we were called In the Ether. That was our band name. I thought it was a great band name.
Yeah, it's a good brand name.
And it was just really like progressive math metal. Like we are a lot of influences like the Dillinger Escape Plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, now it's been so long I don't listen to that music anymore.
Nothing like Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah, okay, so Avenged Sevenfold too, but it was more. It was just harder and like a lot of time signature changes and just real heavy. The singing was atrocious because it wasn't singing; it was just screaming, and I hated that. Like, I just never really dug.
You felt like they had a talent, but they weren't pursuing it.
Yeah, it's like I thought the music was great, just the screaming was just.
Dude, it's the same thing when it comes to painters, man. When you see like the dude that just like flicks the paintbrush and then sells over $40 million, I'm like, dude, I know you can paint, man. You're just not even putting in the time to do it. It's not that the art's bad or anything, but it's like seriously, it's like. You're doing it without any effort, like, oh, this is going to get me money. Oh, I need to make a painting, flick, and then go like that. It's like, oh my God, put the time and effort into it. Find the creative. I want to see you get on that creative spark and start going on, if I could watch, like, from like an observant room of all these people, like, chasing down something they're very passionate about, drawing something and getting real into it, where they actually enjoy it. Like, I'd rather do that than watch some dude create the New York skyline but hate it the whole time, because it's like, you're not going to see the vibe he's putting out is going to be terrible, and you're not going to be able to, kind of find it, I guess.
Yeah.
So when you're doing these metal bands and stuff, and you're going through that, I mean, that's got to be a different shift in general, just to the music you play now, where it's more of a reggae type, rock type vibe.
Yeah, but see, I like I said, I started drums when I was in 4th grade, and I started taking private lessons, and I was getting really good, and actually started giving lessons in my, I would say, early 20s when I started, and I was doing that for a long time. So I would develop all these, I would incorporate all these different styles into my own style. That's what I would define my own style as a mixture of a whole bunch of things. It's not just one, one aspect. I don't know.
You're really trying to when you're not focusing just on one aspect and you're getting a bunch of different influences and putting it out there. I understand that because comedians, certain people have certain influences, but it seems like they all kind of take pieces from each other in a way. Like there's certain essence. You just need to find the click that best shows you, where you're not copying somebody else.
Yeah, for sure.
All of our information that everyone soaks up and all the information we have in our brains comes from something else, comes from somebody else, comes from an experience or something. So the one thing I've been super fascinated about that I want to ask you about is when you're on the road, what's your worst tragedy? Like your worst thing? Because when we talk about experiences and we talk about how good ones can turn into bad ones and things of that sort, sometimes getting a flat tire, or like with the Swell Fellows where they got stuck in Virginia, for a couple of days, had to miss a gig. It sucked at the time, but they look back on it and laugh because they have a funny story about a mechanic. It was the weirdest Southern guy out there.
Oh, right.
And it was like, do you have one of those moments? I mean, we talk about certain foods you take on the road. Like, obviously, if you're on the Bay Bridge and you have to shit and pull off to the road, that's probably not funny at the time, but then you're thinking about it. Remember that time I was crap my pants? Like, there's moments like that make life really, really good out there.
I haven't done a ton of touring. Really, I mean, we've gone long distances to do a show here and there, and I guess when we were in, so when I was in one of my metal bands in Jersey, we got booked on a show that was in Philly, and we had to lug all our stuff there, and it was in a really sketchy part of Philly. Yeah, just not a place you would think a metal show would be. But there was like some hole in the wall, and we played. But like when we were there, I mean, it was a real bad. Just very very
urban.
Yeah, okay, urban. I'm looking for the right word here.
Non-racist word.
It was just it was just not a place you'd want to hang out. Put it that way. Yeah. And I mean, rundown buildings everywhere, right across the street, and it was in the dead of summer, so it was super hot. There was a fire hydrant that was just open and spewing water everywhere, and kids were playing in it, and like
that already gives you that's the best justification of where you were at.
Yeah. And then we had to we were hungry, we had to eat, and we walked to this like little corner store, and it was, I mean, they were making cheesesteaks. I mean, we're in Philly. It was really sketchy.
Sometimes it's that 2 a.m. after gig food that just really sets the mood. I mean, I haven't played a whole lot of gigs, but I remember the feeling of getting off stage, the sense of accomplishment when you rocked a show, and like you were saying, people giving you compliments and stuff feels good. But like when you're standing outside, if you're smoking a cigarette, and like you just that feeling, that euphoric feeling, like oh my god, feels like you're on top of the world, man. Do you have a certain moment in your life that is, I call it a transcendental moment, but it's like a moment where you've come to like realize like, damn, this is what it's all about. Like your whole month's been shit, but this one moment made up for it all.
Yeah, I can't say one specifically.
You have multiple in a life.
Yeah, because I'm talking about just after like playing a show and just having a killer set. Like that's one of the main reasons I still play is just having even if it's just one random person come up to you at the end of the show and just be like, hey man, that was awesome, and I mean that for me makes it worth it. That gig was worth it. Somebody, some complete stranger heard my music, and
one person,
yeah,
even if it's a crowd of people telling you that it wasn't that good or something, just one person coming up and complimenting you makes it better.
Makes that show totally worth it.
That's how you truly know if someone's passionate about music. Because it's going to feel like shit when people are booing at you. But if you get one guy and it's touched them, that one person's going to spread that down to his friends, and then his group of people is going to follow it. It's like, bam. And I have to ask, before I go into this, how is the cream soda? It's basically, it's going to turn into a sponsor, hopefully, on the podcast. But everyone knocks it. It's amazing.
It's delicious.
You wanted water when you came in. Everybody goes for the water. I'm like, no, you're taking the cream soda.
You made a pretty strong case for the cream soda.
And I boosted your efforts. In my opinion, I'm now Joe approved.
Yes, absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Well, it's crazy to think, man, that you have this passion for music, because a lot of people, after being booed off stage once, would first of all give up. I'm not saying you've been booed off stage, which I'm pretty sure has probably happened. It's happened to everybody. I'm pretty sure at some point Aerosmith. You've never been booed off stage?
No, never.
You modest person.
No, I mean we've never. I mean. No, in my whole career, with any band I've ever played, no, we've never been booed. We've played to like 2 people, maybe like a couple times, and with one of my metal bands.
Now that is a true band right there.
Yeah.
A band that will put on a full-on concert in front of 1 or 2 people and act like it's 10,000 out there.
Well, like if we were booked on a gig and, it was just, I think, I know, I can't even, I'm not even going to try to guess where we were playing, but yeah, we'd be booking a gig, and there'd be like, when it was our turn to play, there'd be like 2 or 3 people there, And,
dude, I remember.
We still, rocked.
Do you remember your very first concert you ever went to?
Ooh, man. I was my first band. I was like 16 years old, so I was a sophomore in high school, and I think we played like a battle of the bands.
I meant like one live performance, your very first one. Everybody remembers their first concert that they ever went to. I went to go see Slightly Stoopid.
Oh, so you mean not me playing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My first concert was Chicago. You know the band Chicago? Yeah, of course you do. They, my parents won some tickets on a radio contest and I guess they won 4 tickets to go see Chicago, so they took us. It was. I wish I was a little older because I couldn't really appreciate what I was seeing. Now I knew a lot of the songs because my parents were big fans, so they listened to them all the time. So that was cool that I knew some of the songs, but if I was a little older, I think I would have appreciated it a little bit more.
My first concert, I went by myself without my parents. Like, I was able to actually go out and experience what a concert was. Slightly Stupid on my birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
I had just turned 16 years old. I was in with like a group of people that were like in their 20s. And I've always been like hanging out with older people just since I was younger, just because they were a little bit more matured. And when it came to things, and plus, free ride all at Baltimore. But went up there and saw Slightly Stupid. And I was like, oh my God, like, just everyone was smoking weed, getting high and everything. And it was December 31st. So it's a New Year's Eve bash. So they're going long after. Like, it was just amazing to hear like,
Where
the
was
vibe. The Fillmore. Up in Silver Spring.
Okay.
And afterwards, like, during the concert, apparently it was the the keyboard player's birthday, December 30th. So they were celebrating that. So he smoked a giant bowl, and then like everyone's singing happy birthday, and then everyone I was with was singing happy birthday to me, and it was like just an amazing experience. And afterwards, the singer Kyle jumps down off the stage after everyone's just leaving because it's 2 a.m. Everybody's trying to get home and get out. It's New Year's Eve, there's snow and stuff, and it's pretty cold out.
Yeah.
And everyone's leaving, and I'm sitting there looking for like guitar picks and like all this type of stuff, and I didn't even think he was coming down. The lights went on and everything. And he jumped off the stage, came down to me, and ran right up to me and goes, "What's up, bro?" I'm like, "What's up, man? Holy shit." And he goes, "How old are you?" I'm like, "I'm 16. And he goes, "Yeah, today's my birthday." He goes, "Do you want to smoke a bowl?" I'm like, I wasn't even like into it at all. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, right on. And it's like, that those events transpire. But it was the coolest thing because I was vibing with this guy that I looked at was like, holy shit, like this is a rock star, and he was just as cool as me. And that's cool. What he does during his basically his hobby?
What's that?
Him and Miles, the other singer, are wrestling coaches.
Really?
Imagine
like
your
high school or
high school wrestling coach. Imagine your wrestling coach is Slightly Stupid, the singer, like a well-known stoner.
That's funny.
And it was cool because at 2 a.m. they played their favorite song, 2 a.m. 2 a.m, like that type of thing. And it was kind of cool because you're vibing, and it's like you look at these people with like that show a rock star image, and the coolest thing is when they're able to jump down and shoot the shit with you like it's nothing. Like, they understand how popular they are, but they're not going to hold that over you. Like some people take that way into effect. We noticed that with like Justin Bieber, and his crazy scenarios. But it's like when an artist does that, you even if their music is something you really, really enjoy, that music turns sour.
For sure.
Like you go to put in the tape after your favorite artist was mean to you, you're like, I don't want to fucking listen to this guy. He's a dick. And it was like, that's what you gotta, show on stage. When you're vibing and you're doing this, even if the people don't like your music, if you show you're still a positive guy towards the end of the night, and like people come up to you, hey man, that sucked. I doubt anybody comes up to you and says that. You're just some asshole to do that. But like, if someone says, hey, you suck or something, then you're like, all right, man, I'm sorry I couldn't please you tonight, man. Hopefully we have another gig out there you can come see and I can make up your mind. If you said something like that, dude's going to be like, oh. Well, he's going to feel like a dick. You know what I mean? He's going to be like, damn. He's like, I didn't know you were this cool guy. And next thing you know, you're shooting the shit at the bar. He's buying you shots and you're like, I'm going to run up your freaking tab for calling my... inner hatred, inner aggressions, little microaggressions. Yeah, man. It's cool to think of that, though, man. I mean, like, a lot of people that, like, comedians or some people like that are, like, down to earth. They know how famous they are, but they don't want to use it. They just want you to be able, like, if I ever got super famous, I'd talk to, obviously go to my head a little bit. I'd probably start buying a bunch of shit. But it's like, at the same time, I wouldn't want to lose the person who I am, the person that has developed through my life to get me to where I am today. I mean, everybody's had hardships and roads we've all faced that have turned us into the amazing people we are today. And has got us what we are. Whether you want to choose, like this scenario I bring up where two people, one has a good life, one has a bad life, get thrown like one that has everything, one that has nothing, and they can turn into two completely different people. One can be spoiled, the other one can realize he has nothing and go after it, or it can go the complete opposite way. He just realizes life's shit and thinks life's going to be shit and takes it shit. It's how you take your life, how you take it in strides. That's why I say, if you have a passion out there, you want to take every step possible to pursue it.
Absolutely. I mean, you get one life, and it's not really that long in the grand scheme of things. So you better make it a
hell of a run.
Exactly.
Going through the parsecs at 43 seconds. You know what that is? That's some Star Wars reference.
Yeah. Hold on. He ran the castle run in under 12 parsecs, right? Isn't that?
Is that Star Wars?
Yeah, I think that's what the line was.
I hope it wasn't Star Trek. There's
No,
people out there
Star
that are
Wars.
nerds like, these guys don't know anything.
Yeah, we're gonna get destroyed. At least I am.
About what have you said that was offensive?
No, I meant for that line. That's probably not the line. It's something like that.
Is there anything you wanted to ask me?
What? Yeah. What? How long you've been doing podcasts? This is pretty cool.
Oh, it is cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I thought you were like, you got the arms crossed judging me. I'm like, oh, he's having a terrible time.
No. This is it's just the way I'm weird.
It's actually originated. I've been going to the gym basically like every day for like 6 years now, and I say it so much, so it's like everyone's like, oh my god, he's talking about this again. But it's like, it's been like I've been listening to podcasts because I'm there for like 2 or 3 hours. So it's like I'm working out and like I'm listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, and it like makes the time go by in a way. But it's like it gives you something to like vibe to when you're talking, and you learn stuff. Like listening to his podcast, I always give him a shout out because he starts people's podcasts. He wants people to create their own. There are certain people that should have a podcast. I believe everyone could have a podcast. You just got to make it fun. You got to have the right people that you can kind of vibe with.
Yeah.
But when you're listening, like he's had famous comedians on that I like that have inspired my Netflix, and he's had famous musicians and stuff on that like that have given me like a good history and stuff on things. Like he had Steven Tyler on from Aerosmith, and he was explaining how he made songs and everything like that, and
that's
just
awesome. Yeah.
Hearing how like his influences can go that way, and it's cool because like he had one comedian, Greg Proops, and then he has this guy Christopher Ryan, who's like a well-known like they all have these certain things that they're passionate about, whether it's American history or whether it's history, and they're spouting all these facts, and that's where I'm getting all this information. So it's coming from, and then I end up looking deeper into it. Like the one dude I was telling you about before with the Fill in the Blank episode with Bob Lazar. I was telling you about the guy that gave out the secrets to Area 51. Mm-hmm. The podcast he has with Sean O'Neill or whatever his name is. I actually wanted to look this guy up because he gave me so much like just good information. His name is Sean Carroll. Okay? He is a cosmologist and psychics professor specializing in dark energy and general relativity. He's a research professor in the Department of Physics at the California Institute of Technology, and he was giving quote to Bob Lazar, which made me even look him up in the first place. The guy that discovered the gravity waves had two lengths, and he was thought as like a criticized conspiracy person. Mm-hmm. And now 30 years or almost 40 years later, evidence is coming out in December of 2018 that the Institute found that there is evidence there is two wavelengths. Mm-hmm. And just to hear stuff like that and be like, it changes your whole perspective. Whether he had Elon Musk on there and he's asking him, why did he build a flamethrower? And he goes, it's not a flamethrower. And that's the name of the product. It's not a flamethrower. And that's how he shipped it through the mail. See, those are fun facts you learn. Much like reading a book, a podcast it's a written down story. Everything I'm saying to you, everything you're saying to me, it's in history, whether it's recorded or not. I just started realizing, I could be doing something like this. And for a long time I was so introvert, and now I'm taking the time to be extrovert. But it's like everyone's got an experience. Everyone's got a story to tell. I mean. Totally. I always go back to the one housekeeper I've known for a couple of years who always, asks me how I'm doing and everything. She's used to be a professional women's champion arm wrestler.
Oh, wow.
That's a job like for a kid or something. It's crazy to think. And like there's people that own stores, own businesses, lived on the streets, tried crack, done all these type of things, and they managed to turn their life around. And it's like, it's you're experiencing something. Whether you think you're interesting or not, you are an interesting individual. And how you want to display that is entirely up to you. But I want to hear your story. I want to hear it all. I want to eventually record everyone out there. Everyone's like, when I give them the answer, like, hey, you want to do my podcast? Whether they don't know what it is, a podcast is, or whether they're not too sure because they don't think they're interesting. That is the one answer I hate the most. I get angry when they answer me that because I end up shouting at them like, you are interesting. I find you interesting. You're interesting. They're like, what are we going to talk about? You're talking to me. Yeah, we're going to have a certain focus and topic, but once we get on a vibe and we start going, it's like you fall into a little niche, much like when you're performing and stuff. You fall into a niche, and next thing you know, the gig's over, you played all your songs, you're like, can we still play? You know? It's that type of thing. And it's like, it's crazy to think. Like, one thing I want to ask you about, you're a dad. Yes. And that's got to be hard to even go out at gigs. Like, you got to make the time to do all that. Like, but you're still understanding that whether you have this responsibility, you're still trying to find your passion in a way, and you're still trying to make it happen. And does your wife, I don't want to, call her out or anything, but is she accepting to that?
To what? To what
support
exactly?
For you going out and gigging.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's super supportive. Actually, I'm very lucky. It's extremely lucky that she lets me go after my passion. Still, she knows how much I love music, and I'm not going to say that it doesn't come without a cost, because she's left at home with our 6-month-old, and it's really hard. She's with him all day. She works a full-time job, but she also takes care of him at the same time. We don't do daycare. We just can't afford it right now. So it's a give and take. But yeah, to sum it up, she's very supportive about what I do.
That's good, because when you look at being a rock star, being musically, just popular in general, it's such a small crack in a window. Mm-hmm. Like, there's not much of people that actually make it and become something, whether it's off a stupid 5-second song or, I got stuck in a freaking 15-minute podcast just listening, no visual or anything, of a dude eating Raisin Bran. What? Dude, it was something that I was like, holy shit, like, yeah, it was 2 a.m. I was listening to it, but I was like, oh my god, like, wow. This man has over 2 million views and a lot of subscribers, and it's just different videos of him eating cereal. The one thing he hasn't eaten is Cheerios. He does not like Cheerios. His quote is "fuck Cheerios." Wow. I don't know why, but he's eating Crunchy Raisin Bran. It's just crunch. Like, he's not even milk in the bowl. It's just dry cereal. Oh, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like,
that makes it so much worse.
But then it's like 10 minutes later, you're like, I just listened to fucking 10 minutes of a dude eating Raisin Bran. Huh. What does my life come to?
Yeah, that's a good question to ponder at that exact moment.
But it's like, it's weird to see what people are interested in, and how something so simple and so stupid can make someone a ton of money.
The world we live in, yeah.
It chalks my brain up, and like, when you're coming to podcasting, you got to choose which aspects you want to be. Do you want to do factual, or do you want to get people's experience and do your own thoughts and just free-voke it? Everything I do is improv. Besides the new podcast series I'm doing, that's trying to look up facts. I find that even hard to get an hour worth of information out there, just because there's so much information and then stuff's getting proven wrong, proven right, and all this stuff. It's really just difficult to do. I find better when I'm vibing with the person, like being able to find the connection. I mean, right. No offense, you got the hipster look, but just the hairstyle in a way. But it's like,
yeah, it's, hey man, I came from Jersey, right? That's how it.
Are you really shouting them out with the tank tops?
Yeah, man.
You're not that tank top guy.
No, I'm not.
You're not the Jersey Shore.
No.
Did that show give your guys, anybody from New Jersey, a lot of shit?
Oh, all the time.
That became a stereotype now. Dude, and now all of them are like,
but it's true. It's true. Like, I mean, not everyone, but a ton of people are like that in Jersey, It
happens down here, too. You see people walking around with their shirts off that really shouldn't have their shirts off.
Yeah.
Gotta go to the gym, bro. Get that lift. Am I orange enough for you? That type of thing. But it's like, Jersey Shore, like, it's crazy to see how their all lives turned around. Like, they were all the outbreak, and now the situation's like, he's put on weight and, all that stuff. And it's like, they started to realize, life that has other meanings than being an outspoken person, you know what I mean? Being an asshole in a way. But it's crazy to see how leveled they are now. It's much like watching, like, they age like 40 years basically. Everyone's gone completely
Yeah.
different. It's like, this is what's going from being a child to reaching a mature level.
Pretty much.
But it's cool, man. I mean, I'm glad that, you're able to make time where you need to go chase after your passion, because a lot of people just give up on it, and it's not something that's ever going to go away. That passion's always going to be deep down inside you in a way.
Yeah.
And you have any other things you're passionate about besides music?
Yeah. Friends, family. Since I've had my son, I mean, it's been a incredible experience. I'm extremely passionate about my
sleep?
family. But yeah, sleep is a lot less than it used to be. But he's fallen into a routine probably after a solid month or two. It was rough for a little bit, but yeah,
They have a witching hour too, don't they?
Oh man, they do. Yeah, I mean every baby's different. Everyone's experience is going to be different from the next. But it's awesome being a dad. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I love it. He's always, especially at this age, I feel like every day I come home and he's making a new noise or doing a new thing or just,
turning into his own person.
Yeah.
That's got to be cool to see, man.
It's fascinating.
Especially when you're starting and you're making a song or something, seeing it grow into something. It's like,
yeah.
You're literally watching. Now, do you think having kids is selfish in a way because you're basically replicating yourself? So it's like, this person's me. I love everything about you that is me.
Like, are you saying like having a child is vain?
A little bit.
Yeah. No, I don't feel that way. No. I think, it's
like you liked yourself so much you decided to make a copy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I like you, but, the parts that aren't me, they're okay
but
too.
you need another half to make that.
You need a
copy.
balance.
Yeah. So
that's what's crazy, I think, about just breeding in the first place, because you're getting your genetics and then someone else's genetics together, and then you're creating something else which has a combination of both that and then both your parents and then both their parents, and then it's like a long line and it creates this giant ancestry that's just ridiculous to think about.
Right.
But it's cool, man, that you're able to find the passion, because a lot of people, especially people that are adopted, it's actually a statistic where they are proven to be better parents because they realize what not having parents is like, or what not having known your real parents, or having someone that felt like they gave up on you. But you realize that you take it in a good way. You realize they were trying to get you out of a bad situation. And I'm glad that that had a positive effect on you, and I really appreciate you coming off work and taking the time to be on the podcast.
Yeah, man,
it was something that I was really trying to get you on for, because it was cool. I've got the bass player and I got to get the guitar player, who I've never met either.
Yeah, Logan's a cool dude.
Eventually get my brother back onto the podcast, even though he doesn't take it super serious. But hopefully he hears this and he's like, all right, no, I got it. We got to do a Rogue Citizens podcast.
Yeah, that would be cool.
You guys got to bring me a sticker or
I would dig that.
a CD, because I'm selfish and I don't know.
We will make that happen.
Yes.
For sure. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem, man. I hope you had fun on it.
I did.